Saluton, and welcome to the first episode of Markov's Gallery for November 2022. Yes, it's January 23, we know. So what we're going to try and do every month is highlight the community things that we saw and we really enjoyed. So if you see this video and you like your stuff, share it around.
Indeed, we like showing off other people's work. And our own work sometimes.
Yes. I did consider putting my own work in for December's when we record that, but...
Oh no, we've got a separate segment for that now. We've got Markov's models coming soon.
Yes. Right. Let's kick off with the first one. So this is the one that you picked?
It is. This is Vivian Espinosa by Tony Howell. What I really liked about this was the glistening on the hex wheels that he had on there. They look really disgusting. You can almost feel the liquid stickiness of them on it. Also, the great skin tones we've got here, sort of pale greyish green, which looks sickly and awful. It is a really, really good example of Vivian. There's so many great details on this model, and Tony's really managed to pick them out. And the basing is nice and simple as well. We've got a little piece of floorboarding there and a discarded bottle, like he's tearing up a cantina somewhere down in Mexico. It's just a great piece of work. This is fantastic. What do you think of it?
Yeah, Tony is somebody's work I'm very familiar with. He is part of the Blackjack Legacy group, and he does a lot of tutorials for people and things like that, and he generally puts out a steady stream of work, and it's all top notch. There's a dungeon that he did with some cobwebs on that is just if you photographed it not knowing it was a miniature, you would never have guessed it's a miniature. But this in particular, the same as you, the boils are really nice. I really like the transition of the skin colour as well. It goes from green on one side over to the pale sort of grey flesh on the other. And again, like you said, the basing's great, and the little bit of liquid that's poured out of the bottle onto the floor. It's just a really nice model. And because of the way it's been done, it looks so intimidating as well. It looks horrible.
It looks alive.
Yeah, it does look alive, and it's one of those things where every time you look at it, you spot something new. I didn't notice until we opened this up that the skin had transitioned colour. I thought it was all green, but then I looked at it more closely and oh no, actually it's a nice transition, and there's a ring on the hand as well that's a nice little detail that looks a little bit scuffed and stuff. It's just a really great example of a hex beast.
I'm liking how the trousers, he's got the edge highlights beautifully done on the trousers, so they look like faded old trousers. There's lovely highlighting going on with the wrinkles in that. He's caught the shadows nicely in the rip patch on his knee, so it does look like it's actually trousers over a model. There's a proper shadow there. That's really hard to do properly. Brilliant.
Really nice. Right,
I expect we'll be seeing more of Tony's work in this segment on a regular basis.
Almost certainly. So, next up we have Creation 5 by Byrant Benitez. I really like this because it was very clean, and it looks very much out of a Wild West mutation sort of comic book from the 60s, 70s. It has a real Dan Dare vibe about it, if you know what I mean.
Yes, very much so. You'll need to be of a certain age to remember Dan Dare, but yes, the green is really vivid.
Yep.
It really leaps out, and it does look like comic book art, and it's so good, so good.
Yeah, it's a really clean paint job. It's really bright. It's really colourful. It's not what you usually see for the inline, but I really like it. And it's not that it's not detailed, and there's not the sort of wearing on the guns and the battering around arms and things. And the basing's really great. And I'm not even sure what he's hitting, whether that's like a puddle or whether that was an X creature of some kind, maybe a watcher, because of the colour of it. But yeah, it's now a grey puddle. Yeah, I just thought it was really, really nice, really good colour scheme, really clear, clean, beautifully done.
Yeah, very much. Obviously, a lot of it goes down the grimy route for Enlighten, but this is a whole different thing. It's taking the comic book feel, because it does feel like a comic book, this game sometimes. So I loved it. Loved seeing this one.
Right, we'll move on to the next one. Another choice for you. A shocking surprise.
Oh, Wyatt Earp, yes. What I really liked about this was the basing that he put on it. Having it on a raised platform like that with the whole noose thing, and it just really sets off what's already a great model, but having it with the post like that and the way he's got it leaning into it, looked like he's trying to lean up against the post while he's aiming. Very, very thematic, very, very on trend for him. I just love the way this has been posed.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's a really nice little diorama, just where you imagine Wyatt Earp would be doing, and the pose adds to the whole mini diorama of it. Model of Phil does a lot of work on the council as well, and all of it's like excellent stuff, and it's usually quite well based as well from what I remember. It's like lots of little mini dioramas and stuff, so this is fantastic, especially the little noose. Like, imagine tying that, Jesus Christ.
It is actually a proper noose knot. We've got it hidden by the words, unfortunately, but it is a genuine noose knot on there.
Yeah.
You could lynch one of your own miniatures should you feel so inclined.
Yeah.
I bet that takes some real estate up in his carry-box case.
Yeah.
You're going to need quite a fair section of foam for that.
Yeah, definitely. Should we move on to the next one?
Yeah, let's go to the next one.
So, shocking for me, on the back of the Wyatt Earp, I picked the Viridian Clade posse that was done by Ian Banks. Usually, and I don't know why it is, but a lot of people do the armour for the Watchers like brighter colours, generally like reds, greens, blues. So it's really cool to see like a more monochrome, and then the real bright spots of colours that make it those little bits stand out more. I just think it really, really works. And again, all the basing's really nice.
Yeah, the basing's lovely. When I saw this, I knew you'd pick this because the blue is gorgeous, but the tongue, that bright red tongue hanging out, it's so good. It really is. Looks like flesh coming out of it, and it's just obviously a complete splash of colour against the grey and the blue, and this bright red just draws you straight into his face. Not that you'd want to be doing that, but yeah, what a model. And yes, as you said, the basing is lovely picked out. The skeletons in there have been really well done, and it brings home, this is somebody you are not going to want to run into.
Yep. Definitely. I don't know what it is about the model, but the tongue sticking out should make it a little bit goofy, but it actually makes it a little bit more sinister. It makes it more Venom-like, you know what I mean? The sort of symbiote, scary, horrible side of the Viridians.
Yeah.
Really
in the background, the others are done in the same way, and it just lovely. It looks great. This is definitely the aliens are coming to get you.
Yeah, this is definitely a more scary Watchers vibe over a not so scary Watchers vibe. Right, let's move on to the next one. So this was your pick?
This is my DW pick. Oriflammes are, I'm saying that right, Oriflammes are beautiful, beautiful models, and this really brings out the beauty of those models. We've got this delicate grey on the top, which is wonderfully shaded. And you can really see all the details in the superstructure there, and the guns, and the long bridge, which looks like some sort of posh conservatory, and the dome at the front. And then against that, you've got this vivid blue and gold. As the French may say, c'est magnifique. It really is wonderful to look at. The shading on this blue is spot on. The gold just gleams. It's fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, you don't see a lot of blue on the Dystopian Wars ships generally, and I think it works really, really well, especially with the gold highlight, and like you say, the really light grey on top and the dark decking. It just all pops really nicely, and it's so well shaded, and such good work, amazing work. Next one?
Yep.
So, in a similar vein, I picked the Magenta Fleet by Steve Baberousse. Just the really nice teal, turquoisey coloured hulls set off by the reds and the golds. It is a stunning scheme. It really is beautiful. And it just highlights again how really delicate and beautiful all the French ships are, and I really like the way he's done the SRS tokens, the red planes. It's a spot on colour for those planes, to be honest.
It's got that wake trail behind them, they're really skimming the surfaces. That's hard to do.
Yeah, and also if you notice on some of the bases, it's like there's some rings around where I imagine like the jet is pushing the water outwards.
Yeah.
That's a really nice little detail as well. They're just so good.
It's a great colour scheme. It's not your average colour scheme. I wouldn't have even thought those colours would have worked together like this.
No.
But that, brilliant. Just brilliant.
When I was putting this together, I did think, should I sell my Imperial stuff and get some French stuff? Because like putting both these slides back to back, I was like, they are really good ships, aren't they? Maybe I should just get some French stuff. But no.
Don't sell your Imperial. We're only two factions away from having all factions.
Are we?
Think so.
I've got Imperium.
Oh, three factions. No, we need Sultanate and Empire. We need Sultanate, Empire, and French, and then we've got all of them. We've got 5 factions between us, I think.
You've got most of those.
I've
only got 2.
I've got Enlightened, Commonwealth,
Union.
I've got, Oliver's got Union, Crown. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, you've got Imperium.
Imperium and Crown.
Yeah, so we just need. That's why I thought, because we've both got Crown.
Yep.
And then we just need to get the Empire, which I definitely want.
Sultanate, which I'm very tempted by. French. Or Latin Alliance, should I say?
Latin Alliance, which I'm
very tempted by.
Yeah.
Right, let's move on to the next one. Another one that you picked. Speaking of the Sultanate.
Oh, yeah, this Sultanate fleet by Adrien Gilbert. What? Oh, so many details he's picked out with this. He's got individual photos of the ships as well. We've got the whole fleet here, but again, a lovely light grey, which really picks out the details on these ships. and then picked out with just these lovely subtle pastel colours on the weapons on the double hull ship. That sort of reds there. You've got the wonderful gradient in the decking on the aircraft carrier, the Suleiman. I heard somebody pronounce this properly a couple of days ago, and now I still can't do it. The Suleiman, this wonderful gradient decking on that, and these lovely pastel shades. Oh, it's wonderful. Loved it.
I really like the really bright, chromy silver that's on the front nose cone and some of the chimneys and some of the domes within the fleet as well. It just really gives it like this really royal sort of feel, like a really important VIP sort of feel to it. Like saying, all the colours just go really, really well together. It's so subtle, but at the same time, it's very striking as well.
It's a colour palette you would expect to see if you were watching a movie set in that part of the world. This is the colour palette you would be seeing. I think these are the colours. So he's picked it out really, really well.
Yeah, it's really good. And again, it made me go, maybe I should get a Sultan fleet, because they're really nice. Right, the next one. So I picked this Dark Imperium one because I really, really, really liked the green for the dirigible. A lot of people are painting it like light and dark greys, and then different colour spots all over the rest of the model. But the dark green really works really well for me, especially with the reds and the golds. It's another scheme I would never have done myself in a million years, but it's perfect.
Yeah, I like it. That does pop, that green. It does make it stand out. Contrasting against that, there's some electric blue in places around the deck and on the tail fins, just to contrast against that. Lovely. And they've got that wonderful brass effects they've got with the red of the shields and the Teutonic Cross.
Yep.
Great job.
I don't know why, but the colour scheme has made me think more Flash Gordon than the dark schemes did previously. This now definitely could just go Flash Gordon.
Yes. Here's your war rocket. Here's War Rocket Ajax.
Yeah, absolutely. It is right out of one of the scenes of the movies to be. Right, so the final thing we've got to look at is our table of the month. So each month we're going to decide between the two of us which table across Dystopian Wars and Wild West Exodus. I'll try that again. So each month we're going to pick a table between the two of us from Wild West Exodus and Dystopian Wars, and which one we thought was the most thematic, most interesting, whatever just jumps out of us what it was. And this just is the epitome of a Wild West town. It's got the big water tower, the hanging gallows, a couple of little buildings, some nice scatter, not too much to make it difficult.
It's a tight board. It's obviously for a very small game. What I really caught my eye was just under the tower is that pool of water. Just under that's nicely done.
Yeah,
and it's got just enough cover to make it interesting. Enough open areas to get some shots in for a demo game or a beginner game. This is a nice little board. Put this up, and you're going to get attention. This is going to grab people's attention.
Yeah, it is absolutely going to draw people in. They're going to be like, "What's this for?" You know, especially looking at it, it seems to be the Retribution set. So people are going to come over for Tesla and stuff. But the Wild West town. The Wild West town is definitely going to bring them in as well, because it's really well done, and the buildings are beautiful as well. There are a couple of more shots of different angles and progression through the game. But yeah, this just looks great.
Awesome.
Yep, awesome work from everybody. You can all give yourself a pat on the back. So that's November's gallery. We intend to do one every month. At some point, we will be releasing the December one. I would highly recommend you go to the Sturginium Lounge and the Dark Council on Facebook, where we've got these photos from. Some of these people may have Instagram accounts, so go and follow those if you go on Instagram. And we
also
will
check out the Discord, because there's 2 channels on the Discord for people putting up their models of work in progress and finished models, and they're well worth a gander.
Yeah, absolutely. So that is everything for this month, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Happy trails, pilgrims.